Numbers, population and sample, hypothesis, and statistic. What is the magic word? Correct! Quantitative research. Tara na! Halina't pag-aralan at alamin natin ang kahulugan ng quantitative research. Dr. Torres, classmates and researchers, welcome to my report. In this video, we'll talk about quantitative research. Specifically, I will be sharing to you its characteristics, advantages, and disadvantages. Let's start the ball rolling and let's have the definition of quantitative research. According to Aliaga and Gunderson 2000, quantitative research is explaining phenomenon by collecting numerical data that are analyzed using mathematical-based methods. So, classmates and co-researchers, himayin natin ang definition na yan for us to fully understand what quantitative research is. Kunin agad natin ang word na phenomenon. Sa quantitative research kasi, we are explaining phenomenon. So, ano nga ba ang word na phenomenon? Phenomenon is a peculiar incident that can happen anywhere, with any discipline or any organization. So sa research kasi, hindi na tayo after doon sa mga common na pangyayari o scenario na. Kasi ano pang re-research natin kung wala naman bago doon sa pangyayari na yon? Wala namang kakaiba sa sitwasyon na yon. So tandaan po natin sa quantitative research, we deal with phenomenon, mga peculiars, unique, and extraordinary situation or happenings. Now, let us continue. Quantitative research deals with collecting numerical data. Of course, numerical data is quantitative data, or simply defined as information about quantities, that is, information that can be measured and written down with numbers. And always remember, quantitative data defines, whereas qualitative data describes. At syempre pa, in quantitative research, these data are analyzed using mathematical-based method, in particular, statistics. This type of research utilizes numbers in statistical analysis. It is ideal in studying phenomenon which must contend with the problems of measurement. Furthermore, in studying a phenomenon, we, quantitative researchers, attempt to measure relevant factors and variables by attaching numeric values that express quantity. Analyzing numbers to answer a scientific inquiry done through mathematical formulas, usually in descriptive and inferential statistics. So ayan, naipaliwanag na sa atin kung ano nga ba ang kahulugan ng quantitative research. Para bigyan pa kayo ng mas malawak at malalim na konsepto nito, halina't alamin natin ang mga characteristics ng quantitative research. Characteristics of quantitative research. 1. The data is usually gathered using structured research instruments. Number 2. The results are based on larger sample sizes that are representative of the population. Number 3. The research study can usually be replicated or repeated, given its high reliability. Number 4. The researcher has a clearly defined research question to which objective answers are sought. Number 5. All aspects of the study are carefully designed before data is collected. And number 6. Data are in the form of numbers and statistics, often arranged in tables, charts, figures, or other non-textual forms. Number 7. Project can be used to generalize concepts more widely, predict future results, or investigate causal relationship. Number 8. Researcher uses tools such as questionnaires or computer software to collect numerical data. And number 9. The overarching aim of a quantitative research study is to classify features, count them, and construct statistical models in an attempt to explain what is observed. Advantages of quantitative research. Among the specific strengths of using quantitative method to study social science research problems. Number 1. Allows for a broader study involving a greater number of subjects and enhancing the generalization of the results. Number 2. Allows for greater objectivity and accuracy of results. Generally, quantitative methods are designed to provide summaries of data that support generalizations about the phenomenon under study. And number 4, in order to accomplish this, quantitative research usually involves few variables in many cases and employs prescribed procedures to ensure validity and reliability. Then number 5, applying well-established standards means that the research can be replicated and then analyzed and compared with similar studies. Then number 6, you can summarize vast sources of information and make comparisons across categories and over time. Number 7, personal bias can be avoided by keeping a distance from participating subjects and using accepted computational techniques. Disadvantages of quantitative research. Some specific limitations associated with using quantitative methods to study research problems in the social sciences include: Number 1. Quantitative data is more efficient and able to test hypotheses but may miss contextual detail. Number 2. Uses a static and rigid approach and so employs an inflexible process of discovery. Number 3. The development of standards questions by researchers can lead to structural bias and false representation where the data actually reflects the view of the researcher instead of the participating subject. 4. Results provide less detail on behavior, attitudes, and motivation. And the number 5, researcher may collect a much narrower and sometimes superficial data set. Number 6, results are limited as they provide numerical descriptions rather than a detailed narrative and generally provide less elaborate accounts of human perceptions. Number 7, the research is often carried out in an unnatural, artificial environment so that a level of control can be applied to the exercise. This level of control might not normally be in place in the real world, thus yielding laboratory results as opposed to real-world results. Number 8, preset answers will not necessarily reflect how people really feel about a subject, and in some cases might just be the closest match to the preconceived hypothesis. Generally, social science research wants to: Number 1, describe the structures and organization of societies. Number 2, identify regularities that are worth explaining. And number 3, construct and text explanation for such patterns and regularities. And number 4, address social problems, implement changes. So, we are interested in curious stories on why certain things happen, causes, and effect. But remember, the term theory is often used loosely by social scientists. Well, by everybody. Okay? Theories and explanations. So, walang humpay ang pag-aaral natin sa siyensya. Walang katapusan ang pag-research. So, may dalawang uri ng pag-iisip. Isa ay ang deductive and inductive. So, alin ba ang kinakailangan natin sa quantitative? Action uses in everyday life and in social sciences, but is generalization appropriate in the above cases? Induction often relies on an inadequate number of cases that do not represent the population of interest, that is, men and countries. Upang mas ganap pa nating maunawahan ang lohiko ng induction ay gumamit tayo ng sampling. Sampling in statistical inference. We cannot study everyone from the population of interest, so we select a sample. Number 2, sampling is vital for inductive logic. It allows us to make inferences from the sample to the population. And number 3, representative, large-scale samples obtained by social surveys. And number 4, The key point is that they capture sufficient variability in the characteristics that we are interested in variables. And number 5, falsification with a degree of certainty. Examples of research questions in quantitative social sciences. What proportion of the Philippine population is poor? Has social mobility declined over time? Is quality of life higher in liberal welfare regimes? Does marriage make people happier? Does early political socialization predict political identification in adulthood? Does quality of Philippine education and distance learning improve? Ayan mga classmates and ka-researchers, ang dami na nating nalaman about sa quantitative research, pamula meaning nito, advantages, at syempre pa, yung hindi natin dapat makalimutan sa pagsulat ng social science research, ang mga disadvantages nito. So, bilang pangwakas, sana'y manatutunan kayo sa aking mga inireport. Nag-iiwan ako ng mensahe mula sa aklat ni C. Wright Mills na pinamagatang The Sociological Imagination. Be a good craftsman, avoid any rigid set of procedures. Above all, seek to use the sociological imagination. Avoid the fetishism of method and technique. Let every man be his own methodologies. Let every man be his own theories. Let theory and method again become part of the practice of a craft. Stand for the primacy of individual scholar. Stand opposed to the ascendancy of research teams of technicians. Be one mind that is on its own, confronting the problems of man and society. By C. Wright Mills. Thank you very much.